Hello everybody and welcome to round 7 of the iGPFun Super Formula Lights League here in season 1 of 2026. You join us live from the Monza Grand Prix circuit for the start of the second half of this season. I'd say we've gone through 6 rounds already, still 6 to go, all the way to March the 8th as we all will be live, same time, same place here on this channel with every round of this championship right up until the end, because it is getting up towards the business end now. We're no closer really to finding out who is going to be the champion at the end of the season. It's myself, Ewan O'Leary. I'm Jim Cunningham in commentary for you on this Sunday night. Hope you'll enjoy the racing here from Monza today. Jim, it's one of those high-speed racetracks, and high speed means lots of slipstream, and that means the field generally stays very close together, something which is good for us watching on from the sidelines here.
Yeah, indeed it is. Good to be here with you, Ewan. It's Monza. It's high speed. It's kind of known for that, and it's also kind of known for some chaos corners. You know, the turn 1 chicane is always kind of known as a high incident place, even with a league like this that doesn't allow active overtakes early on in the race. And you got the Lesmos, and it's just it's a really cool circuit. It's fun. It makes for good racing, and a little chaos along the way too, which isn't necessarily, again, the worst thing for us as viewers and commentators. You know, makes things kind of exciting.
Well, exactly. Yeah, 41 drivers have set times currently in this session, with a 42nd perhaps getting into it a little bit later. We'll find out in a moment. Let's have a look at the championship standings, though, with just a few minutes to go in qualifying. These are with 2 drop rounds applied, and we're going to start to try and do this now from the second half of the season, because it's getting towards the business end. And by the end, of course, there will be 2 drop rounds applied. Nick Nagler is currently leading the championship. He won at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the second round of this championship. It's only 3 points in front of Brad Fulliger, who won 2 weeks ago at Road America. Ewan has won on 3 occasions so far, but has only started on 5 occasions out of the 6, so he has missed a round, and that means that he's got 1 score of 0, which he's dropping at the moment. The other score that he's dropping is 31 points, so that's pretty solid for him. 4th place for Stefan Dodder, who's also not that far away, with Antonio Jimenez running out the top 5. Another couple of points back to Max Bartolotto, with Ludovic Renaton in 7th. Then you've got Chris Patel and Robert Ridgway, who are tied on the 1-4-3 in 8th, and then Scott Taylor, who rounds out the top 10. You can see the rest of them going all the way down to 40th down there. We've so far had 59 drivers score points at some point this season. It's been a very, very well-populated season all throughout, which is fantastic. In terms of the drop rounds, since we've applied them, I'll just tell you what they are. Nagler is dropping 16 points, 1 no-show at Sebring, and a 28th placed finish at Road America 2 weeks ago. So a bad run of form there briefly, but he did get second last week. So on the recovery very much for him. Brad Fulliger has got 1 0-point score. He did attend Sebring, but he didn't finish the race. At Silverstone, he finished in 22nd and scored 22 points. And that's his current drop. And as I mentioned, Ewan drops already. I'll go through Stefan Dodder's as well. A 9th place finish is one of his drops from Spa. So he's probably in the best position of anyone in terms of the drop weeks. Always makes it fascinating, the fact we've got 2 drop weeks in the 12. Means that you can miss a couple of weeks and not be completely blown out of championship contention completely. But even so, as I just read there are some drivers in better position even despite that than there are others. As the team's standings in the meantime, RRS Elite are leading the way. In fact, RRS are leading the top 3 position, with Elite Works and then Apex all covered by just 6 points. LR Competition are 4th ahead of Divano Corsa, with RRS Cement in 6th position. It's going to be racing. Forces 7th, Artendelia Red, Turkish iRacing Formula Team, and Flaps VRT rounding out the top 10. Again, not too many big gaps there, because drop weeks are applied there also, although only the best score is taken forward from the 2 drivers, so it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have 2 drivers. For example, Nick Nagler has been doing a lot of the heavy lifting, but ISLE do have 4 more points than what Nagler has in his total, which suggests that Scott Taylor has indeed been contributing over the course of the season as well. So there you go. There's the team standings as well. It's all very close on the halfway mark.
One thing I wanted to point out that I did not make you aware of beforehand, the Unity Racing Red team has now become LR competition. So if anybody's confused by what happened to Unity Racing Red, which I believe prior to the drop scores, they were sitting in third, I believe. But so that's your Unity Racing Red team is now LR competition, just to let people.
Okay, thanks very much. They were up there last season, I seem to remember, in the final round. They're only 9 points off at the moment in this season as well. In qualifying, the timer has pretty much elapsed now. It looks like Ewan has taken another pole in front of a few of other recognisable names that I'll go through in the grid in a few moments' time. But, it's just so difficult to beat Ewan when he's here. Not always here, as I say, but when he is, it's, there's definitely a favourite for the race win when he is here.
Yeah, he is. He is so impressive, man. I was doing some prep work one day, and I caught him in an official race, and he was just absolutely smacking those boys. I mean, he was so fast, so much faster than even one of the elite official races with a really high safety driver rating, I rating. He was super fast, man. He's untouchable there. He 2 laps in, he had a 6-second lead, I think. Something.
Yeah, pretty remarkable, really. And that's why he's up there in the championship, and he's got the most race wins from the first half of this season. Once in every 2 weeks on average, he's taking a victory at the moment in this championship. So, it's been a very good season indeed for him. But let's go forward into the race and see what the grid is looking like behind Ewan, who has taken the pole. Max Bartolotta is alongside him with Nick Nagler and Chris Patel. Then on row 2, it's Tony Jimenez and Yunus Amal on row 3 in front of Ludovic Ranson and Max Giacchino. Then Alexei Yukish and Vlad Fuliger rounding out the top 10. Dennis Cornu and Mehmet Tashi on row 6 in front of the All-American row 7 of Vincenzo Taormina and Andy Flint. Stefan Dodderer and Paul LeMay then are on row 8 in front of Marius Anderson and Robert Ridgway. Patrick Williams and Koji Ito round out the top 20 ahead of Scott Taylor and Richard Van Veen. Then it is Kevin Byland and Clark Williams rounding out the 12th row. Marcelo Caruso and Ben Goyette are next ahead of Donald Cowcut and Stuart Milne. And Gwyn is in 29th ahead of Gregor Schotteler, running out the top 30. Adam Townsman next ahead of Michael LeMay with Filippo Chesi in 33rd ahead of Paul Distelli. Matthew Gracie and Oscar Ottanano are on row 18 in front of Patrick Rowlands and Marek Zotlofs, with Scott Edwards and Duro Nero rounding out the top 40, and Noel Richie Robinson in 41st ahead of Philip Lucas rounding out the field. 42 cars all barrelling down in towards turn 1. It's tracks like these where you appreciate the purple zone at the beginning of these races. Even then, we might well get some trouble on the opening lap.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those tracks that I think the purple zone is an added bonus. I've said it several times now. I was not in favor of that when I first saw it. I was like, but after watching races with it and without it, it makes a huge.
It certainly does. And we'll see what happens, even despite it, on the run down towards turn 1 this time, as the 7th round in this, indeed the second half of the iGPFun Super Formula Light season for season 1 of 2026 is set to get underway. Here we go. The run down in towards turn 1 commences, and a long run it is as well. In fact, in the background, Philip Lucas has gone nowhere off the start of the grid here, but everybody else in a very orderly fashion making their way down in towards turn number 1 in the purple zone. Do they all get through cleanly? Let's just stay and see through this first chicane. There'll be a big concertina effect down the back end of the field, but in fact, with nobody forcing it free wide as they're not allowed, very orderly, everybody makes their way through.
You couldn't ask for much better than that, really.
No. And here we go into the second chicane. So now the defence begins a little bit for a few of those drivers as they start to see some guys coming up on them, close to contact through the second chicane as well, the De La Rogia, and now look through the Lesmos as well. They're going to be side by side battling, so it's helped to keep away the trouble through the first chicane, and now they're properly racing.
I have to say that it is pretty impressive to watch that big of a group of cars go through that chicane and nobody wrecking each other. It's quite entertaining to see that.
Yeah, very good job done from everybody. And Annette is already pulling a margin at the front of the field, by the way. This is what you've got to do at Monza in such a high slipstreaming circuit that cars that do quite like to sit in the draft. You've got to try and keep close, and Annette realises that's like the Formula 1 DRS, early DRS days, where the first 2 laps were absolutely critical in far as getting a second away from the car behind was because of that. That's exactly what we've got here now with the draft, trying to get a second away. Annette hasn't quite managed it, but he's very, very close to doing it already.
Yeah, that's still quite impressive to pull almost a second on the first lap of the race. Now this ought to be interesting going into turn 1 down here now this time around.
Here we go, a look to the inside, outside, everywhere. And battle for second. That will seal it, surely, for Annette now. He has got a second. Oh, the contact! Contact meantime, and a car up in the air. Stefan Dodder is in. Oh, no! It's all sorts of trouble now. There's going to be a car towing back to pit lane, and thank goodness for that. There's gravel on the racetrack. Oh, dear. Dodder is involved in it. And dropping to pit lane as well was Max Giacchino. A couple more towing Adam Townsman now. Stopping after the first lap also Scott Edwards, Paul Distelli and Patrick Rowlands, but unfortunately it's the second lap in the first chicane where things have gone wrong for a few.
Yeah, Max Bartolotta dropped down 2 spots there. I was starting to think he might have had some damage, but he seems to be all right. He must have got out of rhythm there or something.
Yeah, not sure. Well, when one goes through, maybe that served as the catalyst for Patel to also go through here. Yunus Amal is in there in 5th position at the moment as well. Tony Jimenez, then Ludovic Ransson and Brad Fulliger, who is in the top 8 as well. Even the front 3 now are starting to see some bigger gaps amongst them as these two go side by side for 4th.
Yeah, we are starting to see the cars starting to gap out again, which is kind of typical in the series. You end up with several packs. There'll be several 3 or 4 car packs racing each other, and then there'll be little gaps. So, true to form. When this thing settles out a little bit, I'm going to go back and take a look at that first chicane incident just to see exactly what did happen there, although we had a nice look at it the first time around.
There's another big run down towards turn 1 happening here, not only at the front, but a bit further down. Ben Goyet is involved in that one. But Nagler up to 2nd place, and a little bit of a product of the incidents behind. This group behind from 3rd to 8th place is very interesting now, and it's sort of created out of that incident we just saw through the chicane at the start of lap number 2.
Yeah, that's a nice group up there. That's going to be it's going to be fun to watch them settle out here over the next few laps. They were running too wide back through here. Nice pass right there. And Veen, a nice move.
Yep, up to 20th for Van Veen. And Belgito, the one just on the outside looking in there. 2 places gain for Van Veen so far. This is that big group again, though, with Yunus Amal with a bit of a gap in front of him, though. So Patel and Bartolotta now starting to show signs they might be able to get away here. It's just the constant toing and froing, really, and the constant battle for slipstream, which will continue. Here comes Bartolotta, meantime, on Patel, so maybe their progress is going to be halted slightly here.
Both of these guys are having fantastic seasons, really. Patel has been extremely fast this season, as has Max. I mean, both of them have really been showing some good form this season. A few incidents here and there for both of them, but certainly showing the speed this season.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 wide briefly there as these 2 wide battles continue on the brakes down the way towards turn 1. That's quite deep in from Patel, but he's got it pulled up nicely. Bartolotta forced to just tuck in behind. Then Jimenez, Amal, Ranson, Fulliger. They're all next in line. This is that very large group once again. No longer 7 involved because Nagler's got away, but still 6. Here comes Bertilla again on the run down in towards the chicane. He's on the inside line and he's going through on Patel very nicely through the second chicane. Is this just going to be the race here? Just constant battling and constant exchanging of this third place.
Well, I tell you what, this track can lend itself to that, like you said, with the draft and the ability to get that slipstream and make a move off of that. If it is, I tell you what, it's going to be exciting because that's not only we have several packs. We've got that pack, and then you drop back here, and we've got this little pack here of about 4 cars running together, and they're doing the same thing basically. And then if we even go further back here with Ridgway and Scott Taylor and these guys, it's another pack of about 6 or 7 cars here running together. Koji Ito's in there.
Just moving up to 20th, into the top 20 now, side by side. Meantime, between Ridgway and Byland. Ridgway, by the way, has the most total points of anybody here this season, just in front of Tony Jimenez. So it's pretty remarkable, especially when you consider the standings we just looked at, put him down in 8th place when you drop scores. So that shows he's got some very, very good drop scores in his back pocket. A 14th place and an 11th place finish is what he's dropping at the moment. So when he finishes outside the top 14, effectively, it doesn't effectively. Oh, sorry, the top 11 effectively doesn't really mean very much. Ridgway, I think, is going to struggle to get to 11th here today, so this might become a drop round. But when you're having drop rounds and you're not having that bad of a day, that's when you know you're in a relatively strong position.
I mean, he's had a fantastic season so far this year. You know, right now it's showing great consistency, like you talked about. 11th and 14th, I think you said, were his drop scores.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. So I tell you what, I can go back. Take me and find it.
Okay, yeah, it might be a little bit further back, but it's had a big impact on this race, unfortunately. By the way, side note, the bottom 10 drivers have all been in the pit lane at some point here so far tonight. 32 drivers have managed to stay on the straight and narrow so far, but the bottom 10 are in the bottom end of the field, and that means that they're going to have difficulty getting up towards a proper result here, really, with the damage that they've already suffered today. So this is what happened into the first chicane. Max Giacchino is the one on the outside line here, and it's a bit of contact.
That almost looked like a little bit of net code, even. Like, I'm not even 100% sure that they got together there.
He's trying to get out of the way, and
that's the one that hurts, you know.
It's just multiple drivers getting on the scene there, unfortunately. Eventually, they figured it out, and they did get to the side, but oh dear!
Oh, I didn't even see that. Oh, and it cut away.
What was going on there? That was a secondary one.
It was.
As Giacchino towed, it didn't seem that his car had disappeared physically as it had done visually. So he was hit again there by somebody. Now, it could have been Ewan, who...
Later, let's see.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Crossing out the way, but actually the car isn't there anyway.
Nope.
And clips somebody else on the way through as well. That's desperately unlucky.
Yeah, two guys get taken out by the ghost car. Wow. Yeah, that's talk about unfortunate. That is crazy unfortunate right there.
Very, very unlucky for both of those two to drop out as a result of that. Really is. Or at least drop back because of the damage due to that. Ranson gets past Jimenez meantime for 6th place as Johan Annette completes 6 laps here tonight. 20 laps to go on his way to a 4th race victory perhaps of this season. If Nagler finishes where he is, he will keep the championship lead though. It will be Brad Fulger who drops down as Annette moves up to 2nd place and Fulger downwards to at least 3rd. That's if it stays as it is. So it shows you how difficult it is to make up points here. Annette still not getting past Nagler as these guys fight their way for 11th in towards turn number 1.
Man. Oh no! Somebody lost a body panel there. That was Paul LeMay and Alexei Yukish, I think.
Yeah. So I thought that was Michael LeMay, who'd jumped up somehow 20 places or so in the space of these laps, but no, that's Paul. They do run almost the same livery, and they are brothers, as the team name suggests as well. But
I don't see any body panels missing on either car, but
I think it could be a connection again there. Bit of netcode.
I'm curious to see how. I mean, clearly somebody took a little damage there. Obviously, I'm curious to see how that's going to affect them.
Well, looks like everybody's continuing on without any trouble for the moment, so we'll keep an eye on it. But looks like they've gotten away with it. This is the group for 15th place on backwards, and this field is just splitting up into group after group after group in towards the. I was about to say Cops then. That's completely the wrong circuit. Ascari, of course, the Ascari chicane at the end of the straight there, and Taylor up to 15th position. Big gap in front of these guys, but as I say, it just generally just sections itself off into different groups as we're seeing here.
Yeah, to be honest, I kind of like that. I think it gives us some cool little pack racing groups. I like that. I think it's quite entertaining as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. And meantime,
we're going to send it back down there again. Try it again, huh?
Oh, LeMay coming over on Yukish there just a little bit, and Yukish goes wide, so maybe it's worked for Paul LeMay. He's going to hang back here and he's going to try and get the exit, although Yukish did just hold the inside line there, hold it on the apex just for a moment, so that Paul LeMay couldn't get quite as good of a run as what he was hoping for. And now he's being chased across the road towards the outside through the Curva Grande. He's not going to get to the inside in time for the next chicane by the looks of it, or is he? There he goes, down the inside. Oh, there's contact. Yukish trying to close the door. LeMay not giving up. LeMay actually went over the chicane, so he's got a slow down penalty now, and that is, he served it, so that wasn't very large at all. Not as large as the one for Bertilla, who's got one in 5th place, and he's still not served it from the chicane.
Yukish just went off track bad there. That's going to hurt him quite a bit. Oh, he's right on the edge, out of control there. That's two off, not official off tracks, but where he's gotten out there into the edge of the gravel. That's giving LeMay a nice little gap there. Instantly turned into about almost a second and a half. I think we got some more battling up here with these guys, with Fulliger and
Amal and
Patel, yeah.
Yeah, and they've gotten themselves away from Fulliger, who's at the front of the group, but it's a gap created by Max Bartolotta's slowdown, and I'd imagine him trying to serve it as well through the corners, which is a bit of a dark art, but it can be done. Look at that in the background as well. As Patel gets through on Amal, these two are working together. From 5th place on back, they are not working together, quite decidedly, in fact. Inside line for Fulliger, and he's off. Bertilla through another chicane, and Fulliger's been spun round. Ranson and Jimenez were in the area, and Fulliger has to get himself over the curbs and back onto the racing surface using the cut-through road there. And the battle for 5th has got ugly between those three. Fulliger's outside the top 10.
Yeah, that was a massive spin for Fulliger there, and
Ranson, meantime, on the exit. Bertilla is going to be a sitting duck here on the way towards the Lesmos, and Ranson gets through into 5th position, and Bertilla forced to go on the defensive with Jimenez in behind. There's a lap car there as well, by the way, so this is not a 4-car battle again. It's just a lap car hanging around with them as well, but Ranson moves up ahead of Bertilla, who had that incident through the first chicane, and it looks like it's going to be 2 losses on 1 lap here as Jimenez gets to the outside as well. He is going to have a long way round there, and he's going to back out of it rather sensibly.
Yeah, that was probably not the best move. That the lap car there, I'm not exactly sure who it is, but I know that was one of the cars that was involved in that initial lap 2 for first chicane incident. I remember that shiny chrome yellow car that was spun around backwards there and involved.
Okay, I couldn't remember, to be honest with you.
Well, that's, I get a little slight burst of memory occasionally. It allows me to have.
Patel and Amal are going to continue to exchange places, it looks like. We'll check in with them later and see if they've caught Nigler, because That's a 3-second gap that they're trying to close.
Just for a second and see this Fulliger episode.
Wow.
Yeah, see, let's see.
That's Ranson trying to make it 3 wide. Fulliger goes in too deep there, and that for me is he spun on his own anyway, and Ranson only just got into the back of him after he'd started spinning. So for me, that's kind of at fault for Fulliger there, because if you look at that from the eyes of Bertilla, if you like, he's trying to go around the outside, Bertilla, but what space is he, and you'll see what I mean in a second. Fulliger in the dark yellowish and black. He's braking late here, and that's all well and good, but you've got to leave space for a driver on the outside there, and he's not even made the corner himself.
No, exactly. He didn't even leave himself room. So, yeah, no. I agree with you there. And I think it's, as you said, he spun on his own, but I think that spin was partially because he went in too deep, and then he hit the curbing because he was in too deep, and that sent him around, So, like you said, he definitely spun himself there, I believe. Yeah, at first it looked like he kind of got spun, but now I'm glad that we went back and looked at that, because it definitely got a different take on that, looking at it from that angle.
Yeah. I really dislike it when somebody goes in, that deep into the turn and tries to make it work. I mean, it's just, they've just broken too late, unfortunately, and that's how it's transpired, unfortunately, with a big incident down there. Ranson and Jimenez are battling again, by the way, as Jimenez gets back past Ranson, who might have a bit of front-end damage. If you've got any aerodynamic damage, then this is the place you don't want to have it, because of the straight line speed required on these long straights.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Look at the mess right here, would you?
For 14th. Oh, dear. Caruso.
You knew
dear.
That was coming.
Yep.
There's no
Contact
way that
with
was
Ridgway.
work.
Caruso goes across the chicane. So does Ridgway, and as you say, that was bound to happen. Although 3 into turn 1 can work, you've got to be very, very careful with one another, and they weren't on that occasion.
Was it even 3 though? It almost looked like 4.
Well, there was somebody hanging out behind them, but I think it was only 3.
One more shot of this from the air as well. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Like, somebody hanging in there, but that's a
little bit unlucky, really. They were doing a good job actually at keeping each other room, but just Caruso there was just clipped ever so slightly by Ridgway. Was it Ridgway? Sorry, maybe. It was.
Yeah, Ridgway.
And unfortunately, they went both through the chicane and will drop positions as a result of that. A little bit calmer in this group here. Cornu and Fulliger, who's back into the battles. Just in the bottom end of the top 10 here, as this group starts to thin out a little bit compared to earlier on. Yeah,
they're starting to settle in, and it seems now we're getting more of these, 2 or 3 car packs. This battle up here will not stop. You said it earlier, that is this going to be the battle for the entire race, and it seems like it is. Battle up here with around Patel in this 3rd place area on the track doesn't seem to be letting up.
Yep. It is continuing on again, and they're not getting any closer to Agler up ahead. So what they're really doing now is sort of waiting for the end of the race. There's little point fighting right now, because you just know that if you fight, then you're going to end up further and further into the clutches of the likes of Bertilla behind, but they are exchanging places, being nice, and they won't carry on like this forever though in the race. They will fight it out right towards the end, but they're just waiting to reach that point now.
Here's another one of these like 4 or 5 car battles going on back here. Got Richard Van Veen and Boyette and several of them involved here. You might have commentator cursed Michael LeMay earlier.
Oh no.
Yeah, maybe. Let's go see.
He's 26th now. This is unmistakably him, alongside Patrick Williams in toward. Oh dear. And Williams comes across on him there. They've both lost bodywork. So Patrick Williams has no rear wing anymore, or side pod actually. You can see a lot more of that engine than you should be able to. And Michael LeMay loses his front wing as well. So that was a bit of a tangle up. And
You knew that was
Williams
coming.
spins again. If you don't realise you've got no rear wing, then it's very hard to cope with. But yeah, looked like from that angle anyway, Williams was coming across on LeMay.
Yeah, we brought Michael LeMay up earlier, and then unfortunately we got to see him the wrong way. Scott Taylor making a little move here on Clark Williams. And nice little pass right there going into one.
And this is the group for 12 plays with Jukic just up in front here. So that's the group, that's the battle. Will Taylor try and repass here for 12? Doesn't look like it. There's the guys behind. Clark Williams just behind these guys, but then you've got Ridgway and Van Veen, then Caruso and Goyette, but those two pairings are not that far separated here. So as we get to the halfway stage at the end of this lap, we're starting to see those groups thin out a little bit, but some of them do still exist.
Like Bertilla just picked up another slowdown. That's two already, I believe. If he's able to hang on to this one, work it out again.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few for him, unfortunately, for Bertilla. I'm not sure what.
Pushing it, he seems like he was driving really aggressive, hard, and just pushing the track limits there a little bit. Which this is a place that you can jump up and pick some off tracks up because of the speed you're carrying into some of these corners. It gets a little tough. As that was a nice little move there.
Yeah, Bertilla back to the top 5 again.
And these three back here, looking right behind them.
Yeah, it's Fulliger, Flint, and Cornu. Fulliger's found himself back to the front of this group again, so he dropped behind it because of the incident earlier, but with Bartolotti indeed. But now he's back ahead of Flint and Cornu, and maybe he can lead them a little bit, lead them towards Bartolotti and Jimenez, and that battle maybe will resume with Fulliger rejoining them. But let's see, they've got to have the speed now because that's a 3-second gap and it won't be easy to close.
No, indeed. Like Richard Van Veen just had a little incident, but going to be 2 maybe. Oh, yeah, not too. Oh, click on the wrong person.
There we go. And towards.
Yeah, he's just gonna partial spin there. I'll go into it though. That's all right. I think everybody's raced at Monza has had that spin at least once.
Well, yes. Yeah.
Back up Iska. Of course, Johan Annette's in his own zip code here. Postal code, I think you call it over there. Ogler's, guess almost six and a half seconds back or so right now. Got out there on his own as well.
Yes, it's the gap that's extending as well, because Annette last time round did a 41.0, which was nearly 3 tenths quicker than Nick Nagler, and that 41.0, by the way, from Annette is very close to the fastest lap of the race so far, which he holds. Is the only driver to be in the 41.1s, never mind the 42.0s. So that's how much quicker he is than the rest of the field right now.
And these two still hard at it back here. I have to say, Chris Patel really, to me, has been kind of the surprise of the season. There's several, but man, I tell you what, he is. It's really just starting to seem like putting it all together. Had speed, but I guess consistency. But now it all seems to be coming together for him. I'll be really curious to see how this all shakes out when, as we get a little deeper into the season and drop rounds and see where he shakes out. Because he's, in my mind, he's having a great season. I seem to be talking about him a lot.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's not great to be talked about so often.
That's true. That's in there
these,
too.
Races. Yeah. Well. Yeah. True. But no. Sometimes it can be good as well.
Got a good line here. Let's see. I think. Oh yeah, he made this Easy.
Yeah, the question again for me is when do they start to battle it out for an actual position here? There's still 10 laps to go after this one, so we're not that close to the end of the race really. They've already got 6 seconds over Jimenez behind them. I wonder what the stage is when Patel and Amal say, all right, that's enough, I've worked together, I'm going to start defending. Or indeed, what you can even do in as far as defending, because as we just saw there, Patel got through before the braking zone comfortably, and so what do you do if you're Yunus Amal in that scenario? I'm not sure.
Well, I would guess that you would want to be in second. You would want to be the car behind it going into the last lap, you know, so that you could be the one to make that final pass. But, you know, which that's always a bit of an issue with some of these slipstream tracks. You know, it's kind of like, you know, when you're racing at Daytona, you know, you don't want to be in the lead when you hit that final stretch heading towards the finish line, because inevitably you're going to get passed every time there.
Yeah, well,
back here,
interesting to see what they try and do.
Back
this is
here,
further back. Yeah, Scott Edwards and Michael LeMay. So Edwards moves up to 29th here with a 10th overtake or 10th position gained of the race.
Yeah,
who are the biggest movers forward
LeMay had to go get pitted, get his car fixed up from that little incident earlier.
Yeah, but so did Edwards, to be fair, on lap number 1. So
oh yeah, that's true.
He was caught up in something earlier.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, they may be back here in 28th, you know, place, or 28th, 29th place, but still a good battle. You know, you're still racing hard and you're still battling. You know, that's kind of the beauty of these things. It's a lot of fun sometimes. No matter, it's a lot of fun always, no matter where you're at. You know, you're still having good hard racing. Uh-oh. Doesn't look good. Max Bartolotta.
He's been in the walls today as Bartolotta.
Down to 10th after
slowdowns,
whatever
couple of
this
incidents.
incident.
Oh, a bit too late on the brakes, and he was fearful of running into the car in front and just locks it up and spins through turn number 1. A whole load more cars go through. He skips through the curves on the inside to not cause any more trouble. Now he's only 10th, just in front of Paul LeMay. There's LeMay is joining in the blue and red and white. So he's only just in behind Max Bartolotta here for 10th position.
Yeah, I think that to me looked like, as like you said, as he ran up on the back of that car that was in front of him, he got on the brakes a little harder to make sure he didn't hit it. And I think that's when his brake bias kicked in, and he probably had his brake bias a little too far to the rear there to put that much brake into it, and that's when it snapped around on him.
Yeah, and unfortunately the consistency just letting Bartolotta down here today. Just the couple of third places to his name so far this season. 6th place in the standings when you apply 2 drop rounds. His drop rounds currently including a no-show and a 25th position, but that was a no classified. He didn't get classified in that race either, so because you have to do 90% of the laps to be classified. So yes, he's got it. Every point counts for him effectively. So he's got to recover from where he is right now.
Sure. Oh, this is what. Okay. I knew there was a battle here somewhere I wanted to see. This is Cornu and Andy Flint here. You know, I wanted to take a look at some of the. I want to put the team rosters up in the bottom corner here as we click through some of these drivers, and we can kind of see how the teams, which driver is doing well in the team positions. Just as like some of the drivers enjoyed seeing that on the go through. Obviously Cornu running in 8th. Ludwig Ransom's not having the best of days, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Flint up here in 7th with his teammates. Clearly carrying the load today for that team.
Yeah, he is rather. But you know, as I say, you only include 1 score from each team. Each team has 1 driver each. So as long as you do have 1, then you know that's fine. But it does relieve the pressure on some of the others.
Yeah, well, it gives you a chance to, you know, maybe, you know, have a bad day and have your teammate pick it up a little bit for you, you know, when you're by yourself. unless you're Johan Annette, you know. You don't need anybody to pick you up usually either. Oh, by the way, that's the guys that are marked having no team there. That's the unfortunate part of having none listed.
Yeah.
I think Bartolotta's starting to move back up a little bit here.
Yeah, he's back to ninth,
He
getting
got
away
by
from
Tasky,
Tashi.
left Paul LeMay back there a little bit.
Taylor and Crusoe, meantime, side by side, steady on. And
I don't know, that made me nervous, that camera
15th.
angle.
Well, yeah.
That was that camera angle. I thought he was going to turn across his nose there.
It's always what happens through the first chicane, isn't it? And especially after what we've seen earlier on in the race. Everyone's, well, we're anyway going to be nervous watching that from now on, I think.
Yeah, I tell you, you know, I love the first chicane there, though. You were getting after it. Two baby blue cars there running. But I'll tell you what, their brakes were lit up there. They're riding their brakes pretty hard.
Caruso back in front of Scott Taylor again, with 7 laps to go when they get to the line here. So, dying stage of the race coming up now. That final quarter of this race, and a new fastest lap from Johan Annette, a 40.7. That's nearly half a second quicker than anybody else has managed today. Bartolotta set a personal best last time of 41.1. That's the closest, nearly 4 tenths behind. And Taylor is off through the gravel at Ascari. And Yukish, in a separate incident, has gone off on the gravel as well. So it's all happening through Ascari on that occasion.
Wow. Okay. All right, that was really strange. This. Oh. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, Taylor, it's another case of the driver behind braking too late and fearing hitting the car in front. But
yeah,
in the end, he didn't need to be so fearful, I don't think. Probably would have been fine, but he did go straight on anyway.
Oh, we got somebody cutting across there. That is that? No, that was Scott Taylor, I believe. Just had to. Did he pick up a slowdown for that? Yeah, he did. I thought so because he cut across pretty abruptly there. That's the best place to pick up a slowdown either.
No, indeed. Well, there aren't too many good places, of course. But
well, no, but I mean, you know, if you're through a slower portion of the course, you can kind of sometimes, you know, shake it off without actually, you know, having to really slow down. But you get on some of these high speed sections, you don't have a choice but to really reduce your speed.
Meantime, there's the group Scott Taylor has found himself in now with Goyette and Stuart Milne. It's a 3-driver group, and other than that, it's just pairings up and down the field. Williams and Ridgway, and still these two. Now only 5 laps to go when they get to the line, and these two still haven't figured out who's going to be defending from the other, or how they're going to sort this one out between the two of them.
Yeah, you know, it's about go time here, so we're gonna somebody's gonna get aggressive here. They can't seem to get away from each other though. Their lap times have been just really similar, you know, pretty much the whole race.
Yeah, indeed. Good run. There we go. So,
boy, that was a nice run.
Well, yeah, and a mistake from Amal, but now this is something different, really. It's getting very dark, isn't it?
It is.
My screen, or is it getting a bit dark?
No, it is dark, yeah. I don't know if it's just anyway, overcast or...
Well, overcast, I suppose, getting towards the evening time once again here at Monza. But, yeah, Patel, they're getting through on Amal in a slightly different way as to normal. So will this start to... goodness me, it's only 1:45. Will this start to open things up a little bit now and just give a different scenario at some point? Because so far they've rather just been following one another all the way through.
Yeah, I don't... It does seem like they're just kind of working together and just taking it easy, but I mean, maybe that's just the way this race is going for them. They're drafting up on each other and passing each other. This is probably going to be a move right here to turn one. Yeah. Oh, he can get up. He didn't get there.
No. Okay. So yeah, but it's that a choice now to stay behind and think, well, we've been so often exchanging places here. Then let's just stop that for now. I want to be
with me.
Yeah. All good.
Yeah. Apparently we had a little internet surge there. Acted.
Oh dear. Is that Bertilla again? It is. Yeah. Oh, Max Bertilla is having a nightmare of a day. He spins again. And he's now down to 11th. Paul LeMay back into the top 10 again. It's just a story of mistakes, unfortunately, this race for Bertilla.
Saw that. I missed it. I was looking at the scoring tower. Oh, curb. That was interesting.
Amazingly.
He didn't tear it up, though.
Yeah, amazingly. Doesn't hit the wall again. It's away without hitting the wall again. Remarkable, really.
It is, actually. I mean, had a couple of incidents, but hadn't tore the car up. He just looks like he's right on the edge, which I'm assuming he obviously is. He just put down a personal best a lap or two ago. I don't know. He just seems like he's just hanging it right out there. But what do we got? About 3 laps left or so. It's going to be hard for him to make up the distance to LeMay now.
Indeed.
A few seconds almost. That's.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough time left for that. Meantime, side by side just behind them as Ridgway tries to get that to that 11th place. Clark Williams is just getting past him though. The reason why I mentioned 11th for Ridgway is because that's his second worst score of the season. That means that whatever he does tonight, he will get points as if he's finished 11th, even if he doesn't or not, when he is a little bit further down. So that's the minimum, and that does help you to lose less points on an evening here to the likes of Ewan and Nick Narglet, and only lose 9 to Narglet.
Well, he had an off track, but it didn't seem to hurt him any.
Maybe just out of Lesmo 2, pushing to try and get the maximum out of that right-hander.
Yeah, we're starting to see there are some off tracks starting to build up. It wouldn't surprise me to see somebody hit an incident limit here.
No, maybe not. Yeah, because you are just on the limit so much and getting so close to going over and onto the grass so often. Yeah, it's entirely possible.
Milne here. Back of Calcutt.
Side by side. That's almost on the way towards the final turn, and Milne just tucks in to line there as well. You know, this is a little bit the problem with this circuit. There's almost too many overtaking chances when you're in a one-on-one like this. When you're in a group, that opens up a lot of opportunities, and that's a good thing. But when you're in a one-on-one like this towards the end of the race, you know that it is going to be like this to the end. You just don't know where to start with the amount of overtakes. There goes Milne for now, but it will only be a fleeting moment in 16th or 18th place rather before surely is challenged again by Calcutt into one of these corners.
Well, Ridgway just got back by Clark Williams again, but now here comes Williams. But they are in 12th. I thought he was in 11th just a lap ago.
I don't think so.
Okay, because I thought you said no matter what he was going to finish 11th, but that must have been what I heard.
Yeah. I meant he's going to get points for 11th, whether he finishes there or not, if he's lower than that because of the drop scores.
Yeah, I guess in my head I heard you say 11th and I was thinking that he was in 11th.
He is 12th. It doesn't look like he is going to get to 11th.
No, I don't think so, especially not Bartolotta's fast. I mean, providing he doesn't have another incident,
Exactly.
I mean, he's got a car that's top 5 speed, you know.
That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, he just has made too many mistakes tonight, really. Flint and Cornu, meantime. Cornu up to 7th place. This is another battle that's going to go right to the very end now, and this is where it matters a little bit more, especially for the likes of Vimala and Patel as well, who've been waiting for the last 20 laps, really, for this moment. The final couple of laps of this race, and they finally get to decide who's going to finish on the podium.
Amel has gotten back by Patel. We had thought maybe that he was going to stay back there in second and wait for it. Here, getting after it as well. Back again. They're having a good old battle here between the two of them. They must be having a lot of fun, though, back and forth like that.
Yes. Well, I'm not sure, really, because the overtakes are so unchallenging. I don't know how much fun it will be, but anyway. Have to find out from them, I suppose, but yeah, it is quietening towards the end of this race now, and the white flag is out for Ewan. Another fastest lap of the race of 1:40.4 as the fuel load goes down. He is extending his lead. He is more than half a second quicker than anybody else's fastest lap. It's a truly remarkable demolition of this field all over again here from Ewan.
Now, this is going to be a crucial pass right here if it happens. This is a very important third place battle here.
So Patel gets into turn 1. Amal is taking a better line through there, so that's a nicer exit out of turn 2 for a run now into the Curva Grande, which might well give him a chance when it comes to the Della Roggia. So Patel thinks that getting it over with on the front straight and defending for the rest of the lap is the way to go. Amal is going to challenge that now as he runs to the outside line. He is going to get back past, so Patel lets that one go. Now
crazy.
He's got to find another way through in the next half a lap.
Man, these are... and the same thing is happening right behind them. The Cornu Andy Flint thing. They just swapped spots again as well.
Oh, Patel! Lesmo 2, that is unorthodox, and that might be the point. He springs a surprise on Yunus Amal, but the speed difference between the two is negligible, and so Amal can get straight back in the slipstream, and he can drive straight back past again. He's going to squeeze Patel as well, and Patel returns the favour. He's on the inside into Ascari, and he might well have it from here.
Yeah.
Meantime, Johan Annette is going to come out of the final corner to take victory here from Monza in the iGPFun Super Formula Lights League for Season 1 of 2026. It's Johan Annette's 4th victory this season and his 3rd in the last 4 races. Who's going to finish on the podium with him, though? Yunus Amal round the outside, forced there by Chris Patel, who's on the inside. He's got a better line. He's got a tighter line to the run here. Can he get in front in time? No, he cannot. And Yunus Amal gets on the podium there by 27 thousandths of a second. Cornu is going to be more comfortable in front of Flint. And what about the group for 12th place? Because Ridgway and Williams' battle has got out of hand, and they've all crashed into each other. They've all crashed into each other into the Parabolica. Unbelievable. All 4 of them going past them, lap cars and lead lap cars alike, as a big crash on the back straight puts Ridgway down the field. It takes all 4 of them out of contention for that. Yukis in the end is going to get to 13th, or is he? No, Taylor gets there just in front, then Goyette after Yukis. What a crazy final lap between those 4.
Oh my word, that is unbelievable. I have got to go back and see that. I don't think we have any more big battles coming, so I'll go back and find that in. Come on, Chopper. Oh, no, we got to back up.
Here we go. So, how does this even happen? So one driver trying to go, Clark Williams is trying to go free wide, but he just clips that car on the right-hand side. He's just misjudged it. There was space for that, but he's just misjudged it on the straight, and it's taken out 3 of the 4.
Oh, yeah. Who's the only car that got through there was it Ridgway?
Not Ridgway. No. Might have been Yukish. No, he finished 14th. Who would that have been? Caruso, maybe.
Yeah, he's the only one not mentioned here in this.
Yeah, right, they were late joiners to the group, so I'm not sure.
I'm do the same thing again here. All right. Yeah, so there were 4 there. So he goes for the move. He feints the move and opens the hole up, but then he stays so close that he ends up clipping him. I mean, Williams did a good job. He kind of faked over and opened that hole up. The other car got out of the way a little bit, and the hole was there. He just misjudged it. Wow, talk about some last lap drama. Holy cow.
Yes.
All right. That was that turned out to be quite an interesting race there. All right, let's see.
It did. Well, an interesting finish, definitely, as those groups came to an end there. I mean,
that whole race was good, but yeah, that finish was crazy.
Yeah, and always expected really that a circuit that's so easy to overtake on, it was always going to have that ramping up at the very finish, as it did here. Let's have a look at the race results, though, with Ewan Annett winning there by 12 seconds in front of Nick Nagler, with Ewan Samal rounding off the podium. He got just in front of Chris Patel there at the end, as we saw. Tony Jimenez continues his consistency, doesn't gain or lose a place in that race, finishes in the top 5. Brad Fulliger then 6th ahead of Dennis Cornu, who just holds off Andy Flint. Mehmet Tashi and Paul Lemay round out the top 10. Max Bartolotto had an up and down day and finishes 11th in the end, ahead of Marcelo Caruso, who gets 13 places gained on the day to 12th. Then rounding out the top 15, it's Scott Taylor, Alexei Yukich and Ben Goyet. They were all in one group after the previous one was decimated. Donald Cowcut, Stuart Milne was next to 16th. Donald Cowcut next after him, followed by Richard Van Veen, Ludwig Ransson and Marius Anderson. Outside the top 20 for Robert Ridgway, this will become a drop round for him. Gregor Hotteler was 22nd in front of Marek Zotlov, so we didn't see much of because he was so far back, but he still gained 15 places more than anybody else in the race. Clark Williams, with that late accident, actually got back to where he started in 24th. Paul Gistelli rounds out the top 25 in front of Dorian Arroyo. Noel Robinson was the biggest move forward at one stage, but not at the end. Scott Edwards, Michael LeMay and Max Giacchino rounded out the top 30. It was Enwin, Gracie, Ito, Townsma, Chesi and Artinano who were also classified. And the non-classified drivers, Kevin Byron, Patrick Williams, Vincenzo Taormina, Patrick Rowland, Stefan Dodder and Philip Lucas down the back end of the field. Well, it was one of those races that built up again and again right until the end. And in the end, it was a comfortable win for Ewan Annett, as we know. But that dramatic finish between those 4 was pretty remarkable. I've got to say, I was expecting to see some of those battles play out at the very end there, but I wasn't expecting to see that on the run down to the final turn.
No, and we can't forget the Unisamal Chris Patel battle. I mean, that literally went right down to the wire, and what was it, maybe 0.003 of a second? I think he crossed the line ahead of Patel. I was a little bit shocked too, because right as we clicked on them, all 4 of the cars were wrecking. That was pretty crazy. But fantastic race, man. Monza very rarely ever disappoints. It's one of those kind of tracks that almost doesn't matter what you put here. It always seems to be pretty good racing.
Well, absolutely. It has been good racing once again here tonight, but Ewan Annett has dominated the field once again here. He's taken his 4th race victory of the season and his 3rd race victory in the last 4 rounds, which gets him a little bit closer to Nick Nagler. Now only 3 points behind and moving ahead of Brad Fulliger in the championship standings. Come back next week, same time, same place, to find out what's going to happen in the remainder of this season, because the championship battle is only set to hype up from here. Next week, we will be at Donington Park for round 8 of this championship. We're into the second half now, and this championship is only going to get more exciting from here. Make sure you join us same time, same place for that. But for now, from myself, Ewan Leary and Jim Cunningham, it's goodbye from Monza. We'll see you all in 1 week's time at Donington Park. Goodbye for now.